Hi, everyone. This is Rebecca Nagy. Thanks so much for joining me today for the first session of my series, And Thus I Rise. I've been a student of the Ageless Wisdom Teachings for over 40 years, ever since reading a novel that had karma and reincarnation in it in college. It sparked a deep knowing in me that I felt was truth, that this was the link between science and religion. And so it started me on a lifelong journey of exploration and experiencing sacred teachings, studying with various spiritual teachers all over the world, leading me ultimately to Sancta Sophia Seminary, where I became a teacher of esoteric wisdom and was ordained by Light of Christ Community Church as an interfaith and metaphysical minister. So today, I'd like to say one thing about being a spiritual teacher in this day and age. I don't believe in allowing ourselves to be spoon-fed essence of somebody else's truth. The ideas and thoughts that I express in this series are mine and mine alone. And I do want to encourage you to take what you can from what I am going to be doing in this series and own it where you can, take it for truth where you will, and continue your own exploration and your own journey to finding your own truth and spiritual wisdom. And for more information about my work and my school, the Golden Quest Mystery School, I do invite you to visit my website, which is on the screen, goldenquestmysteryschool.org. The reason I chose the title for this series, And Thus I Rise, is because I'm equating this time as a period of rising out of the ashes of what is occurring in the world right now. The Phoenix archetype is about transformation. And I really believe that this time is one of many opportunities we're going to have during this current shift of the ages in 2020 to transform what was into what will be. And so I invite you to take a little journey with me into the world of possibility and potential. There'll be another recording after this of a world healing meditation. And I encourage you to go to my website to download that at your convenience. And so, why a pandemic? And why now in 2020? The coronavirus attacked the respiratory system, which leads from the heart chakra through the throat chakra and into the third eye. And so you've got the upper chakras of the etheric body of humanity, the spiritual centers, having challenges right now. In the physical body, these of course are related to the lungs, the throat, and the breathing apparatus of your nose. On the spiritual level, it's about love, communication, manifestation, vision, and intuition. And if we all pull back and look at the fact that we are living on a living, evolving being, and the same thing is happening to the etheric body of the earth itself with its coughing and its gagging, and it can't breathe. We want to recognize that we as humanity are in the process of evolving and are the forerunners of the emerging avatars or masters, they have been called. They've been called the masters of wisdom, the masters of the seven rays. But also we want to acknowledge that the new age of Aquarius has indeed begun, and we are basically at the apex of the beginning of that age. The earth is a living organism, and as I said, it's also evolving. It's actually preparing for her own sacred initiation. And we're seeing that through this pandemic, not only are we as humanity being affected, but the entire earth has already been affected. On the flip side of this, we're going to see, as people are not driving their cars and industry is slowing down, the earth is actually beginning to heal. Once this pandemic is under control, and are we going to reintroduce these toxins back into the ecosystem? Do we allow that? Do we look at the idea that we and the earth are created as one, and we're basically healing ourselves and the planet at the same time as we are getting through this coronavirus? Are we going to take a stand and begin to be conscious, wise stewards of the earth? Well, that remains to be seen. However, now is the time to begin to visualize a new way of being, a new way of living, and a new way of going forward after we're on the other side of this pandemic. The shadow knows. With this shift of the ages from Pisces to Aquarius, we are experiencing challenges that give us opportunities for growth. This is a time where the shadow comes forward, whether it's in our own psyche, or the psyche of a nation, or the psyche of the world. This in turn helps to bring the light into the crystallization that has occurred in religion, government, and other financial institutions. We are being charged now to transmute, transform, and transcend this crystallization and rise as a new form, as a new being of light. This is truly an opportunity to transform those parts of us that no longer serve us, and to rise as the phoenix rises out of its own ashes into a new being. As we work on shattering the old forms of the third dimension that no longer serve the advancement of humanity and of the earth, we begin to enter into the portal of the fifth dimension. The third dimension, of course, is the physical realm of reality, which we all experience. But so many of us are beginning to experience more and more of the fourth dimensional reality, the hallway that leads us into the fifth dimension. Consciousness is beginning to awaken as we ourselves begin to experience inner plane work, and we find it so necessary. And right now, with this global pandemic of us being charged to stay at home so that we can flatten out the curve of the infection, many of us are turning to meditation, visualization, and something that's very Aquarian, the internet. And so as we meditate more and experience spiritual disciplines and practices more, we're beginning to awaken our intuition and experience a higher level of consciousness, and begin to experience this unity of consciousness that will be the fifth dimension reality. The all is one and the one is all. We're definitely in this together. There is no us versus them. So let's not pay attention to all those conspiracy theories, but keep your eyes and your heart and mind on the goal. And the goal is transformation. Part of the goal of transformation during this time that we are evolving is the idea that we are evolving from the emotional body, where we can be swayed this way and that way by astrally based fear and hate and other emotions that are being spewed out right now, into more of a balanced body, the mental body. What this is allowing us to do is to sit in silence, sit in balance, and allow ourselves to pull ourselves some lower psychic, astrally based emotions into being man transcendent, which is more mentally based. There is an idea in the wisdom teachings that when a critical mass of humanity reaches the ability to communicate instantaneously through mechanical means, dare I say what we're doing right now, the entire world will become telepathic. At that time, no one is going to be able to sleep or rest if even one person is hungry or suffering in the world. The wisdom teachings are such an incredible source of understanding events from a different perspective. They are also an incredible source of truth in synthesizing science and religion, which is also a hallmark of the Aquarian age, this ability to synthesize more than one concept into a new truth or a new reality, a new realization. When we allow ourselves to transcend from fear and anger and judgment and criticism to a higher level of consciousness, we allow our very vibratory frequency to be raised. Those emotions of fear and anger and judgment and criticism lower our vibrations. And when we lower our vibrations, this affects our immune system. So the more you buy into the fear and the conspiracy theories, your own immunity is being compromised. And when your immunity is being compromised, everyone's immunity is being compromised, and so is the world's immunity. Just think about that for a minute. So I encourage each of us to spend as much time as we can in meditation, visualization, contemplation, and listening for the still small voice in the silence. I think one of the most powerful lessons I learned when I was in seminary was when I came across this Sanskrit word, manas. It is the root word of the word humanity, mankind, man, woman, but it's not about gender or sex. It means literally thoughtful creature, an animal which has the ability to think, feel, and meditate. It's not only our opposing thumbs that separates us from the lower kingdom, it's also our mind, our ability to think and reason, along with, of course, our free will. And so we come to the idea of the shift of the ages from Pisces to Aquarius. I like this saying very much. We are here to start an era, to start an age, to celebrate the transition from the Piscean age to the Aquarian age. We are here to celebrate that. We are the pioneers. We are the pioneers of the Dharma. Let's bow our heads in prayer and let us open our hearts. You know, Aquarius is about group, not the guru. We're all in this together. That's what this time is teaching us. Aquarius, first of all, is an air sign when you're talking about astrology, and it is about the mind. It's about the internet, and also, more importantly, the idea that we are in this journeying together. It's about group consciousness. It's not about somebody standing there and telling you what is right and what is wrong and expecting you to take it as the only way. What we're seeing now is that the old Piscean fundamentalism, whether it's in religion or government or finance, that the people that want to keep power and control in the hands of the few are fighting desperately to keep the status quo. Conversely, there are millions of other people, hopefully like you, that are listening to me now, who understand that this is not the way of love. It's not the way of spirituality. It is not the high way. You know, I'm going to throw something else out to you, another thought. We as the United States of America have a sacred destiny. This destiny was predicted by great sages down through the ages and well known by our forefathers, for they were Masons of a very high degree. E pluribus unum. Some feel that the government, our government, has let us down, that we don't have strong leadership at the top. Well, I'm going to stretch a little bit here. Maybe that's the way it's supposed to be. Maybe we are being charged to take personal responsibility for our country, for our lives. Ponder on this. If we're all God, then there's no one out there that's not God. We have people in charge that are there because they are doing a service to humanity. Sometimes the people that challenge us the most love us the most. They volunteered to get us to think, to get us to change. Maybe we're being given the opportunity to see the shadow and destroy it with love and light. Thinketh in the heart. I think we're also being charged to evolve from mass consciousness to group consciousness. Mass consciousness is a form of being asleep and easily hypnotized and led. It's also grounded in the astral body, in the solar plexus chakra, where illusion and delusion reside. Whereas group consciousness is the awareness exhibited by individual group members about the group, its members, and their commonalities. Group consciousness is about awareness of the collective on a mental, telepathic level. And so as the shift of the ages continues into this age of Aquarius, one of the things we're being charged to do is think as in the heart and mix Aquarian reason with Piscean heart. As we do this, we will definitely begin to live the law of one or oneness. And this is where we will evolve from mass consciousness to group consciousness. The fact that we're experiencing this whole pandemic together and people all over the globe are linking together, helping one another as one world, is a demonstration of this oneness. Now let's look at another concept. We are here to negotiate the world of spirit and matter and becoming familiar with universal law. And I plan on covering universal law in upcoming sessions of this. But I'd like to talk now about Einstein and the Secret Doctrine. For those of you that aren't familiar, this is one of the books that really began the New Age movement in the last century. The Secret Doctrine was written by Helena Blavatsky, who was the founder of the Theosophical Society. And when he passed away, his niece actually found a copy of the Secret Doctrine in his papers, much dog-eared, much underlined, and in one of the margins was a scribble, E equals MC squared. The Secret Doctrine was our first public, I lost my train of thought, was the first time the public was given the wisdom teachings. Up until that time, up until Blavatsky began to communicate as an amanuensis with one of the masters of wisdom, the ancient wisdom was only passed on in mystery schools by a teacher to the students, by a guru to his disciples. This was the beginning of the Aquarian age energy being shown that the group was now entitled. There had a mass consciousness level had been reached where a lot of people were then ready to receive the wisdom teachings. And that's why I was guided a few years ago to start my own mystery school so that I could teach what I had been taught by my own teachers. And this idea of the quantum physicist is synthesizing concepts that the mystic, the theologian, the philosopher, and the scientist have been trying to reconcile for millennia in a little space called the non-local universe. And in what Einstein called spooky action at a distance. Very simply, thoughts are things, and the power of intention affects everything we do. When you drill down to the core of even the most solid-looking material, says quantum physics, separateness dissolves. All that remains, like the smile of the Cheshire Cat from Alice in Wonderland, are relationships extending curiously throughout space and time. One of the founders of quantum theory, Erwin Schrödinger, dubbed this peculiarity entanglement, saying, I would not call that one, but rather the characteristic trait of quantum mechanics. What does this mean? At the very core, when we go to the core of who we are, at the very level of the quanta in each of our cells, we are one in that area of quantum mechanics. And so, how do we get there? How do we get to that level? Well, by taking personal responsibility or respondability, building the mind through meditation. There are various meditation practices, but the two I want to talk about today are passive meditation, which is probably the most common and is the basic procedure of building up the mind muscle to get it ready for active meditation. It's also called guided visualization. Active meditation, which has been defined as a poised, alert state of mind, structured to pierce through the veils of illusion to the quality and essence of a thought, is a knowing technique. The goal is to penetrate the cloud of knowable things that's also been called the mind of God. And you use no music with these because music keeps you grounded in the emotional body. It's also called seed thought meditation, which is what we practice and what I teach in the mystery school. So the daily practice of seed thought meditation in and of itself can restore your ability to focus and reflect deeply on a single topic. So you take a word or a phrase or a concept, you take it in and contemplate on it. There is a process that I teach, which I hope to teach to you someday. But it's critical to engaging in the study of the ageless wisdom to understand what the wisdom really is saying, and in creating thought forms that thereby will create our next level of reality and our next level of evolution. Seed thought is used to develop higher mind and pierce through the veil of illusion and Maya to enable us to glimpse a universal truth. The other thing that's really important at this time is meditation is also the best way to combat being swayed by any mind control that's going on or subliminal messages that are being set, and to develop discernment. There's a lot of untruth out there, but the more you allow yourself to meditate and get centered, the more you will not be swayed by emotion and fear, and the more you will know truth and you will know illusion when you hear it. So we're really being charged to reset planet Earth right now, and us along with it. Esoteric astrologer Philip Lindsay says, whatever the cause or motives behind this pandemic, it is a unique opportunity for humanity to take some time out to reflect, to hit the reset button, to go within themselves as well as their homes and ponder the meaning of life, to get back to basics and establish a way of better values to live by instead of being trapped on the treadmill of soul-destroying work, mindless recreational shopping, frivolous living, and debt. Humanity is currently feeling the pain and grief of many planetary crises: ecological, economic, political, cultural. Let's use that pain to transcend materiality and rise like the phoenix to be reborn. And thus we rise. Thank you so much for joining me. And I encourage you to visit the Golden Quest Mystery School, explore and experience some of the things I put on there. And please reach out to me through some of the tools that I've given to you with email, or there's a form on the events page where you can offer me insights, opinions, gentle comments, and also sign up for the newsletter. Thanks so much again for joining me. Namaste.